sticking around or no. I, female 29, got a new chest job about 4 months ago from an A cup to full C cup. I guess I was thinking about it for a while, but really decided to do it when my husband, male 35, started to really lose weight and work out seriously. I was feeling somewhat unattractive, so I decided to get the chest job. Ever since then, I've been getting so many compliments and attention I never received before, not only from my husband but from so many other people. I've never felt so attractive. It's like people look at me like I'm a different person altogether. Sleeping with my husband has been a lot kinkier and wilder. We do dirty massages now, and he seems to love to play with me. These are new experiences for me. About 2 months ago, one of my colleagues at work started to give me a lot of compliments, and he has asked me quite often to go out for lunch. He works in a different department and is quite the looker. He has never really paid so much attention to me before, but that completely changed. We got to know each more, and after about a week of having lunch together, he asked me if I wanted to go out for drinks one day after work. He was also married, so I felt we knew each other's boundaries. We were just flirting with each other, which admittedly I really liked. So, I agreed to go have a drink with him one night, and I told my husband I was working late. He took me to a very nice lounge downtown. I got a little drunk, and so did he. Next thing I knew, we were making out right there in front of everybody. We ended up in a nearby hotel, and I had some of the most intense bonding ever. It was like I was not me that night. The way he lusted over me and how he touched me made lose myself. Ever since that night, I've been feeling so guilty. I had never cheated or really thought about cheating on my husband before, so I've been feeling torn. This intense anxiety and guilt these past 2 weeks have been eating at my conscience. I would say I'm quite an honest person, and this feeling inside me is almost unbearable. I really want to come clean and tell him the truth, but I'm also very scared how he will react. I fear that he might not forgive me and perhaps ask for a divorce if he knew the truth. I don't know. All I know is that I can't seem to live with this guilt. Sometimes when I'm with him, I'm so anxious that I need to take a meds. I feel like such dirty and bad person. It's killing me. What should I do? Should I tell him? What if he leaves me? Feeling quite desperate here. Please help me. Without trying to excuse what I did, I want to give you some more background first before I reply to all your comments individually. I guess the reason why I wanted to get the chest job in the first place was because I was scared that my husband started taking more care of himself. He's been working out and getting fit, tanned, buying new clothes. I suspected that he was having an affair on me, but I don't really know for sure. Nevertheless, it made me insecure in our marriage. My girlfriends were also saying that it's possible that he might be having an affair. That whole situation pushed me to want the surgery in the first place. After I did it, my husband was more attentive and it seemed to have renewed our marriage somewhat. I guess I lost my head with this colleague. We had meetings together before and knew each other on a professional level, but never really crossed any boundaries. It wasn't as though just because I had bigger breasts he was interested. I don't think it was. I was also feeling more confident in myself and carried myself differently. I was more friendly and approachable. Anyways, we slept together only the one time, but he wanted to keep seeing me while I was the one who stopped it. I have not seen him outside of work. We just went to lunch to discuss what happened. I still think he's a sweet guy who is not only after me for my chest. We both just did something we shouldn't have. Yes, I used protection and I did not do anything I normally don't do with my husband. We did discuss that we were both married and shouldn't be doing this, but it happened anyways. We don't have any kids yet, but whatever, I want to do the right thing, just need time to figure how best to do it. I want to make this marriage work. I need to believe that I can be forgiven if once he knows. I also hope that he is also not cheating on me. Again, I admit that what I did was wrong. I'm trying to make sure our marriage can survive this if I tell him. I do agree with you, this he does deserve to know. Just need to find the right timing. BTW, I did not make out with him in front of other colleagues. We were in a lounge with strangers. I have almost gained the courage to tell him. I know in my heart that's the right thing to do, I'm just still scared. I feel I need to prepare for what can happen next. Some of you asked why I want to still remain in this marriage. It's not because he makes more money than me. It's because I think I learned something about me through this process, even though it's not over. No one is perfect, not me, not my husband, not my colleague, and not even you all. I did break my vows and now I'm paying for it. I've come to really accept that. Instead of starting anew, I just want to try to make it work, regardless of if my husband is also cheating on me or not. Something has to give, since I cannot live with this guilt and shame. I have a question though, what if my husband is also having an affair? I can probably forgive him, but is there any chance our marriage can survive? I hope I can shed some light on why I was insecure and think that my husband might be having an affair. Beyond the workouts, the tan, and new look etc., his behavior has changed. Maybe not to his friends, but it's something a wife notices. A distancing of emotion, a subtle lack of interest. Also, slight changes in texting behavior, like angling the screen away from my line of sight sometimes. Might be nothing, but I would say it's a new behavior. Also, from what I understand about men, they usually don't get fit and change their appearance without trying to woo someone. and I don't feel that he's impressing me. That's why I think my husband might be cheating. Although I don't have any hard evidence, as they say. And again, this is not to excuse myself in any way. I'm at fault for what I did. So, I've realized that, some of you were curious, nothing is ever going to perfect. Sometimes life really sucks. But I want to try to make the best of what's left of my marriage. If it doesn't work, then I will eventually come to terms with that as an outcome and hopefully move on somehow. But I feel I need to try at the very least before letting everything go. Just for my own dignity and personal growth. I have decided to tell him end of this week. I booked a table at a restaurant where we have our own little corner. It's private enough to talk, but not private enough to make a scene. For some reason I would rather not do this at home. If he does lose it for any reason, I would rather he vent in public and cool down. Also, so far, I've been trying to get my hands on his cell phone records, but I don't really know where to start. Does anyone know how that can even be done? He uses TMO. Also, some of you were saying not to confront him until I knew for sure or had evidence. Can you elaborate on that, please? We both work, and when we got married, we did not have many assets. But now we have some investments together. I assume people are saying not to confront him due to legal divorce reasons. Is that right? But whatever, last week I went to get tested for STDs and come back negative. Thank God. So, I was able to get into my husband's phone, briefly though. I couldn't get his phone records, so I've been trying to gain access to his phone whenever it's not with him. I couldn't guess his password either. Yesterday, he put his phone down unlocked before he took a shower. I was able to go through his messages as quickly before he come out again. I found some text talking about meeting at a cafe, no time given, and talking about how he liked her dress. Also, they were discussing about their visit to the museum downtown. The tone was clearly intimate. The name used was not an actual woman's name but the name of a dessert. I quickly went through some of his emails as well but didn't find anything. I needed more time to search, but I had only a few minutes. I'm still planning on talking to him tomorrow night at the restaurant. I'm wondering if there's anything I should be considering at this point before we talk. Update: I just wanted to let you know that my husband and I are separated but not divorced yet. After a long conversation about our marriage and our problems, I told him what happened. It was not pretty, but we opened up to each other, felt like the first time we ever truly did that. And he also admitted that he had been seeing someone he met about 4 months ago. She's an artist, a painter, and she's young. A lot younger than I am. Want to keep this short. Bottom line is he wants to continue seeing her, and so we decided to get separated. Divorce will be a long drawn-out matter which may eventually happen. He wants to continue seeing her, and he says for me to go live my life. He moved out last night and now I feel utterly alone. Sad how everything turned out. My comment: she was wrong for not divorcing him first before she screwed around, no doubt. But this guy was prob cheating for way longer than 4 months. Either way, they are both screwed up. They are perfect for each other and should save the rest of humanity from the pain they inflict by staying together. Story 2. The Real Anger. I am a 38-year-old man in a fairly new relationship that is moving fast. We have been together for about 9 months now. In the past 3 weeks we have moved in together. She has 2 kids from a previous marriage and I have 1. She is a good woman who does not need me at all but wants me anyway. She can stand on her own 2 feet. She is beautiful inside and out. She is faithful and honest. This woman will be my wife soon. The topic of having another baby has come up throughout our relationship, and in the beginning, I was under the impression that she wanted to. I have always wanted to. As we talked more, it became clear she did not want to have kids anymore. She once went as far as to say if that's what I wanted, she is probably not the girl for me. This has been the one thing in our relationship that was a killer, something we fought about from time to time. Well, she is now about 6 weeks pregnant even though she was on birth control. She is also 38, and ever since we found out about this, she has been very unhappy and hard to read. It's been about 2 weeks like this. She does not want to talk about the pregnancy with me at all, and if it comes up, she is very brief and I can tell she does not want to talk anymore. When we have talked about it, sometimes we fought. Some of the things she said were hurtful and some of the things I said were also hurtful. The big issue for me has been that our physical life is suffering bad. In the last 2 weeks we had slept together once and it seemed like it was just for me. Prior to this we had slept together just about every day and it was great. She has asked me to just be there for her and understand she is upset, but there is nothing I can do to help her. She wants me to not discuss things that are bothering me like our physical life. She does not want me to bring up things about the pregnancy. I have tried to explain that our physical life is directly tied to my happiness. The results of that conversation were typically that I need to not talk about that right now. Sometimes she has said I only think about my feelings and not hers. I do not feel this way because I would do anything for her, but she has told me over and over there is nothing I can do to help. I find it very hard to deal with her rejection. I finally worked up the courage to ask her to sleep together last night and she said, no thanks. She says if this happens, I become disconnected and act weird. I can feel that, but I do not know how to not do that when the woman I love, who I had an amazing physical relationship with, is saying no thanks to my advances. I am kind of venting. Not sure what the question is. Has anyone had issues like this with your woman? If so, how did it get resolved? Is it normal to be asked to not discuss things that are bothering you in a relationship and to just be there? I've never had a relationship where this happened. I have been trying to do what she is asking, it's just sometimes things feel like they are getting back to normal, so I start to talk about things like bonding and the baby. Bad decision every time. You're right, I need to give her more time and just do what she is asking. It's confusing because sometimes she contradicts herself and makes it difficult to understand what she needs. Plus, I'm such an impatient bastard and I know that's not good. Typical male, show me the nail and I will go get the hammer. I have a hard time thinking someone may just want to talk about and come to terms with the nail rather than get the hammer. I did order the book His Needs Her Needs just prior to this post. Funny you recommended it. I have heard her say the same about making it all about me from her. I just have to come to terms with the fact that we may not be unhappy for some time and that okay. I have never had this happen to me in the past, so I am trying to figure this all out. Thanks for your input on this. It's helpful to get the perspective of others and to reaffirm some things she has said. We are just old enough and have been through enough crap to realize what we want in a relationship. We love each other, our families, and our kids. Cut my losses, abortion, etc. These things are not even part of the discussion. Facts about marriage failure rates don't do much for me. If we want it to work, and we do, it will. We will figure this out together just like we have done everything else. Every issue is just a learning experience. It's not that she is not willing to address it, it's more that she is not ready to. Abortion is off the table. Sure, it was briefly discussed, but neither one of us are willing to do something like that. I'm sure it will all be okay later. She has said several times she just needs some time to wrap her head around this whole thing. It's a lot given the situation. I have not brought up anything to her about bonding and I have just been there for her. I told her that I don't want to discuss bonding at all until she is ready to. I told her that I am here for her if she wants to discuss how she is feeling about all of this. I also apologized for being so self-centered and selfish about this. I have to be honest though, it's killing me seeing her upset all the time and not being able to do anything about it. When I ask her if she wants to talk about how she feels, she just says nothing has changed. In other words, she is still unhappy. She really seems like she does not want to discuss it at all. Do you think me just being there and saying nothing is helping her? How long do you think I should let this go on this way before I recommend we talk to someone together to start moving in a positive direction? Sometimes it seems like I'm living the definition of insanity, but that may just be my impatience creeping in. Update: she ended up having a Miss X. We ended up splitting up for about 3 months because we really were tearing one another apart. We were very bad at resolving conflict. This experience has taught me a lot. I sucked at being there for her, listening, and understanding what she is going through. I always tried to argue with her to try and make her feel the way I do rather than just understanding that she needed me. We would fight so often because I would react like crap when she was just trying to open up to me. I had a tendency to make things about me and become somewhat needy. I also was completely horrible at just being uncomfortable or unhappy. That kind of thing happens from time to time in relationships and in life. The way I react to them in life, jump in and fix it, pass the hammer, does not work in relationships, and it's extremely hard for me to not react to it the same way and try and fix it. I am getting better at that. She also knows a lot more about me now and what I need from her in a relationship. It has been relayed in a clear way after much thought, not as a reaction to something else. I feel like we have learned more about each other in the past 2 months than we have in all the rest of the time we were together. A year later, when she gets mad with me about something and starts doing what she does when she is mad, I can only take so much before she gets me. Once she gets me, I feel unable to remain loving and positive. I start to withdraw, I don't speak much, and I will try to go somewhere else for some relief. The crappy part is this affects the people around us, sometimes the kids. I know this is not helping us and it's not what she needs in those times. The problem is I suck at it. When she gets going being mean and nasty, I feel disrespected. This is especially true when she does things that are wrong, gets me, then never apologies for it. It's almost like she expects me to let everything go and never need an apology from her. It's an exhausting circle or argument. Sometimes there is not out. For instance, we are taking the kids out somewhere or we are all on a vacation together. When situations like that arise, I may tell her the same thing: I will not deal with you being mean and nasty. If that's what you're going to do it alone, but then I cannot leave. She continues to fester and eventually I take her up on the argument out of my inability to remain positive and calm. All this she wins, he wins stuff, crap test, etc. Does relationships really need to be this cryptic and difficult? Even if she was my wife, I would not have to live this life with her. The thing is, we have a good life together. The only thing that plagues us is the way we fight and how long it drags on. I am seeking to understand better my role in that because I feel that working on me would be more productive, either for this relationship or my next one. She was not this way in the beginning, it slowly came on after the advertisement phase wore off. I would love it if she was able to talk about her feelings in a calm and respectful way. I can respect that type of communication. She flips the anger switch pretty quick and then I stop listening because I refuse to deal with her nasty behavior. Here is an example. We are in the car and I was joking with her about something stupid we often do. It must have started to rub her the wrong way. I notice she is starting to get dismissive and act like I am bothering her, so I say something along the lines of, "Why don't you call someone to talk to?" and this flipped her anger switch. She gets immediately mean and nasty and says, "Why are you being a piece of crap?" in a very nasty way. My response was, "Wow, that was way out of line and uncalled for. I have been very clear about a boundary of mine being name-calling in our family." She then continues to be mean and nasty for a very long time without me taking part in the argument at all. She very rarely calms down and apologizes later. If she does, it's often days later. Sometimes she will try to move on and then I get angry because she did not apologize. One of my problems that is not helping. She justifies her behavior most times by blaming her actions on things I do. For instance, in this example, it was that I told her to call someone. I understand I played a part in this one, but I am not the one that got angry, mean, nasty, and crossed boundaries. It would seem more productive to me if she could have explained how she was feeling without all the anger. I will read that link and pass it on. Talking to a friend of mine in a similar situation about some older married men in our lives reveals some interesting things. This friend feels the need to do many of the things that I have problems with. He will react to his woman's anger or crazy behavior with his own anger or argument. He will wait for apologies that never come. He will feel wronged when she is acting like a little girl. When I shared with him my thoughts on this, his reaction were, he would never want to eat crap from his wife for his entire life. He felt, as I must have in the past, that if someone exhibits this kind of behavior, that person must make it right. He felt that if he did not meet her anger with anger or by leaving, she was more likely to do it again in the future. I think he is wrong. I think the more you can be like a rock and pick your battles, the less this will affect your life in a negative way. I think people that act this way towards you will learn a couple of things over time. They will learn they can count on you to be there, unaffected, when they are acting like a little girl. They will learn you will not react to their anger, so they may want to stop wasting their time getting angry. They will learn that when you do react or have a problem, it's serious because you rarely do so. You pick your battles carefully. One of the older married men in my life has reached expert level in this regard. I am sitting there talking to this man. His wife walks in the room and says, "We are ready to eat. Are you going to come eat?" He says. "Yes, I will be right there." She says, "Screw you," and many more things on her way back to the kitchen. While this was all taking place, he was telling me a story. At no point was he fazed by her nasty comments. He continued to tell me the story like it never happened. After the story was complete, we both went into the kitchen to eat like nothing even happened. My friend has a similar man in his life. It's no surprise these men are both happily married for a very long time. I have been tested yet again. I walk in to pick everyone up and she is making us late to leave. My daughter is upstairs going back and forth with the kids because we are late, trying to get them out of the house. I go ask her if she is ready and tell her it's time to leave so we are not late. She then says to me, "My daughter is upstairs complaining at everyone." I tell her that was mean and nasty and go to the car to wait. I keep things positive as I get the kids where they need to go with her in the passenger seat. She tries several times on the ride to suck me into an argument, but I will not bite. I told her I will not talk about this in front of the kids and we can talk later on. In the car she says she is sorry for getting snippy with me, not for what she said about my daughter. We arrive at the event for one of the kids, late. Her family shows up and she starts making plans to go to their house. This is what we have done for the last 4 nights. We discussed yesterday having a quiet, relaxing night tonight, so that is what I was expecting. Honestly, I am just tired of going there every night and wanted a change of pace. It's a loud house and I just want some peace and quiet. Also, we planned out the day this morning. The plan was to make dinner at my house so I could get my clothes done, none left. When we get in the car from the event, she is talking about having dinner quick at her house and then going to her family's house. I asked what happened to our plan to make dinner at my house. Again, she gets mad and says she will come over and make the dinner like we planned, like I am forcing her to do so. At this point I am starting to feel like this happens a lot and it irritates me. The something is we are constantly at her family's house. In addition, I thought we were going to have a nice relaxing night together. It feels like she will ditch our plans for her family at the drop of a hat. Not a good feeling. Even though I feel this, I say nothing and remain calm for the ride home, quiet but calm. She storms into the house. I ask her if she would like some help getting things into the car before I drive home. She says no, that she will do it herself. She comes over and is still being mean and nasty. I asked her if she could help me with something so we could talk alone. On the way there she says here we go in an exhausted way. I still do not get sucked in and we get alone to talk. I told her I am not happy with what she said about my daughter. She apologized for this, but she is never apologetic, she is saying it mad. In addition, I told her I had planned with her to do something different tonight. She gets defensive and angry, leaves the room and shuts the door. She continues to storm around the house. I am in the bedroom watching the game. One of the kids is in the shower, one is playing a game in the living room. She come back into the room she just left 20 minutes ago and closed the door and says, "What, are you going to sit in here all night and ignore us? Why did we come here?" I was on the phone with my friend at the time, the one from an earlier example. I told her I was on the phone and she said she did not care. After she says some stuff to try and provoke an argument without success, she says screw you and close the door again. I spent the remainder of the night playing with the kids in the bedroom. I let her know via text that she was being mean and nasty. I also let her know that speaking to me that way while I was on the phone with my friend was unacceptable and humiliating. Once dinner was done and we ate, she packed up the kids and went to her family's house. I did not. I shut down a bit on the ride home from the event. I got withdrawn and quiet. This is my fault. In that moment I started to feel hurt. I was thinking about how it felt like I was forcing her to honor our plans. Not a good feeling. I was also thinking about how we discussed on the way to her family's house yesterday how I know we agreed to come, but it would be nice if we could have a quiet night when we could. In addition, we always go there every Sunday and that is tomorrow. Then one of the cousins has a birthday party Monday night at 6:07. We have our therapist appointment that same day at 8. Not sure if she plans on missing that also. The family is grieving from a loss. I am trying to be sympathetic to this. I have spent all of the last 5 days with them. I have taken every day out of work and I was right there for her and her family. This was quite a test, and aside from withdrawing a bit on the way home, I think I passed. She already apologized for what she said about my daughter. I just wish she would honor our plans, my needs, and be the one to initiate the apology conversation. I feel like I am twisting her arm into doing these things. It does not feel good. So now she asked me to come over after she got home from her family's house. I said I feel angry and disappointed by all that has taken place. More specifically, what she has not addressed, saying screw you to me with my friend on the phone and the kids nearby. I would have hoped she would have just acknowledged what she did was wrong and own it. She did not. I told her I would just stay home. I know that I am waiting on an apology, something that has proved to be a problem in the past. With that said, I feel like I chose my battles, and this is one I chose. This is not okay in my family, and her unwillingness to accept it is only prolonging things and making it worse. She says she is not a child and does not need to be told to own her crappy behavior. That's all well and good, but I am not going to go hang out with her and pretend it's all good. It's not. She appreciates when I apologize when I make her upset, like I did the other day leaving the store. And she will not do the same when she does something much worse. She is saying things like when I am ready to communicate like an adult to let her know. It's almost comical. I am deflecting her terrible behavior all day. She is throwing tantrums left and right like a little girl, then says crazy stuff like this. I am never going to bend over for her if she is berating me in front of my friend and kids. It's crazy. I don't want to have to force someone to treat me well by digging my heels in like this. It does not feel good. But I cannot allow this type of behavior in my family. Here is where things are now. She apologized in a real way for saying duck you after a day, but immediately followed it up with more anger and argument, saying I can just take or leave her and I am not there for her. She says this because when she said duck you to me, I chose to not be around her because I do not want to be around her when she does things like this. I have explained this, but it does not help subside her anger and nasty behavior. Last night we had the therapy session and it did not go well for her. She was telling me in the afternoon that if she could come, she would be late because of the cousin's birthday party. Also, she said she would be coming to get his opinion on her leaving therapy because she sees no point in going. This would be the second time I have heard her say she wanted to quit therapy. We went over our last couple of fights from vacation and the recent screw you fight. She called me a liar for describing things exactly how they happened, because it was embarrassing for her, I'm sure. To answer her question, our therapist recommend we go back to weekly meetings from the monthly meetings we have now. He asked her if she wanted to be with me and do weekly meetings again. Her answer was she did not know. He asked us to discuss it and let him know. After the session I asked her if she would like to discuss it and she said no, then went home. If she will not continue to work on our relationship with our therapist, then I will leave her. There is no way it will ever work without that. We have been going to therapy for a while. Things were better when they were once a week. We switched to once a month because things were going well, then it got bad. I am switching back to once a week and hopefully she will decide to come. If not, I do not see much hope for us. I think having the accountability of explain to the therapist what happened helps stop things from getting bad. No one wants to explain to a professional how they acted like crap. Woke up this morning and she decided she wanted to talk. What she wanted to talk about was how what I was doing is making her feel abandoned and unloved. I reinforced that I acknowledge her feelings, but this is what I will be doing from now on. I said again that I will not stick around for the mean and nasty behavior. I explained that if she could just talk to me in a respectful way, we would never have to do this again. She then got all worked up, thrashing around my house a bit on her own and no longer taking place in a conversation with me. After some time of her being in the other room, she came out, said not one word, and went home. It seems she wants to continue to test my resolve on this boundary. Also, another interesting thing is that throughout this entire new process, she has never wanted to talk about my needs in this relationship. I have problems and unfulfilled needs, but they do not seem to be taken seriously. If I ever do get to tell her what my problems are, they are dismissed or taken as a personal insult, it seems. She will get defensive and take it almost like a personal attack. Because of this, I rarely feel like my needs are heard. I rarely feel like they are a priority in any way. That needs to change. My comment: these two aren't married. There aren't any vows. This is just a girlfriend there are so many issues with. They don't have children together. I think there should be a timeline. If the relationship hasn't improved, there is no need to suffer on and on. That's what the dating period is for, to see if someone is forever material or not. She's taking you for granted because you are allowing her to take you for granted. Cause you're a nice guy. And you're a nice guy cause you have self-esteem issues. People with self-esteem issues feel they aren't worthy enough. They're lucky to get this person to choose them, cause nobody else will, so they better just suck it up.